From the very moment you stood at the altar, with trembling hands and a heart full of promise, heaven was watching. The vows you made were not just spoken into the air, they were sealed before the throne of God. Jesus says to you today, I was there when you pledged your love, and I am here now. He didn't simply witness your wedding. He authored it. Every tear, every smile, every challenge you have faced together has been recorded in His book. And now, in this very moment, He wants to breathe life back into the love that once burned so brightly. If these words reach the deepest part of your heart, I invite you to comment your spouse's name or a word of faith below so we can join together in prayer for your marriage. Maybe you've been feeling like the storms have been stronger than the promises you made. The silent days, the heated arguments, the small differences that once felt insignificant have now turned into walls that feel impossible to break down. But Jesus is whispering into your heart right now, do not give up. He is an expert at restoring what seems lost, at uniting what feels broken, and breathing life into what appears to be dead. True love is not just a feeling, it is a daily decision, strengthened by divine grace. And when human love is not enough, God's love flows in like a mighty river, washing away the wounds and making all things new. Today, the Holy Spirit is moving through your home, pouring peace where there has been conflict and hope where there has been despair. You are not fighting this battle alone. There is a God who fights for you, and He has never forgotten what was consecrated before Him. He remembers every word spoken at that altar, every promise made not just between two people, but also before the Creator Himself. Storms do not determine the destiny of your marriage, they only reveal the need to anchor more deeply in the love of Christ. And right now, He is saying, trust me, let me be the center again. When He takes the place of honor, nothing and no one can destroy what He has blessed. Today is the day to raise the banner of faith over your home and declare that this marriage is protected and sustained by the power of God. There are moments when love feels easy, when laughter fills the rooms and your spouse's smile is enough to light up your entire day. But there are also moments when love feels like a battle, when misunderstandings turn into cold silences, and the warmth you once felt is buried under layers of disappointment. Jesus says, I see the hidden tears you cry when no one is watching. I see the nights you lay awake, wondering if things will ever be the same. And His answer is simple yet powerful. Yes, they can be. I am the restorer of what has been broken. In my hands, even the most fragile bond can become stronger than ever. Your marriage was never meant to be carried by human strength alone. It was designed to be sustained by my presence, my love, and my grace. When you placed your hands together at the altar, you were not just holding each other, you were holding onto a covenant sealed in heaven. That covenant is not fragile in my eyes. It is bound by divine promise. I do not walk away from what I have blessed, and I do not allow the enemy to destroy what I have declared sacred. The struggles you are facing are not a sign that your marriage is over. They are a call to return to the one who joined you together. I am not finished with you. I am not done writing your story. In fact, I am preparing a chapter filled with greater unity, deeper intimacy, and stronger faith. Right now, I am asking you to shift your eyes away from the hurt and onto the hope. The more you focus on the pain, the heavier your heart will feel, but the more you fix your gaze on me, the lighter the load becomes. Healing doesn't always come instantly. Sometimes it's a process of daily surrender. But if you keep your heart open and your faith alive, you will see me move in ways that will leave you in awe. Do not give in to the whispers that tell you to walk away. Stand firm, because what I have joined together, I will also sustain. And when the day comes that joy fills your home again, you will know it was my hand that carried you through the storm. There is a reason the enemy fights marriages so fiercely, because a marriage rooted in God is one of the most powerful testimonies of His love on earth. When a husband and wife walk together in unity, hand in hand with Christ at the center, they become a living example of grace, forgiveness, and faith in action. The enemy knows that if he can plant seeds of bitterness, pride, or unforgiveness, he can weaken that testimony. But Jesus says, I will not allow his plans to prevail over what I have ordained. Even in the seasons when you feel like you are walking through a valley, I am walking with you, holding both of you close, and whispering that love is worth fighting for. My desire is not just to repair what is broken, but to make it stronger than it was before, so that it becomes unshakable no matter the storm. I know the words that have been spoken in moments of anger, the decisions made out of frustration, and the regrets that sometimes weigh heavy on your hearts. Yet I also see the good, the small acts of kindness, the sacrifices you've made, and the memories you've built together that still carry life. You may feel as though you've drifted far from the closeness you once had, but distance is no obstacle for me. I specialize in drawing hearts back together, softening what has been hardened, and turning ashes into beauty. I want you to remember the days when you first fell in love, not to make you long for the past, but to show you that what you felt then can be reborn now, under my covering, in a way that is even more pure and steadfast. The journey back to unity will require more than just words. It will require a choice to trust me daily. It will mean letting go of pride and embracing humility. It will mean choosing to love even when feelings are low, and to forgive even when the wound feels fresh. But if you will allow me to be the glue that holds your marriage together, you will see transformation that no human effort could achieve. I will breathe new life into your conversations, restore tenderness to your touch, and place joy back into your home. And when people look at your marriage, they will see a living testimony of my faithfulness, proof that when I bless something, it can endure anything. There was a day when you stood before witnesses, before heaven itself, and spoke words that carried eternal weight. You promised to love, to honor, and to stand together through every season, good and bad, easy and hard, joyful and painful. Those words were not just ceremonial. They were seeds planted in the soil of your covenant, and I, the Lord, have been watering them ever since. I have not forgotten that day, and I have not abandoned the work I began in your hearts. Even if you feel that the ground has grown dry, I can cause living water to flow again. What feels dead to you is not dead to me. It is only waiting for my touch to breathe life back into it. I will not allow the enemy to have the final say over what I have blessed, because your marriage is not just about you, it is about my glory shining through you. You may think the years have changed you too much, that you and your spouse are no longer the same people who stood at that altar. And in some ways, that is true. Time changes faces, hearts, and priorities. But what I want you to see is that those changes can be redeemed. I am not calling you back to the way things were. I am calling you into something deeper, more mature, and more unshakable. A love that has weathered storms carries a strength that newlyweds cannot yet know. I am asking you to look at each other not through the lens of frustration, but through the eyes of grace, the same grace I pour out on you daily. For every weakness, I offer strength. For every wound, I offer healing. For every fear, I offer peace. Do not underestimate the power of prayer spoken together. When you hold hands and speak my name over your home, you invite heaven to wage war on your behalf. Angels are sent, peace is released, and hearts are softened. The restoration you long for may not come in a single moment, but with every prayer, every act of kindness, and every decision to choose love over bitterness. You are building something eternal. I am in the midst of your marriage, and if you will not give up, you will see the day when joy replaces sorrow, when unity replaces division, and when love shines brighter than it ever did before. This is my promise to you. What I have blessed, I will sustain. Every marriage faces moments when the weight feels too heavy, when the laughter fades, and when even the smallest disagreements feel like mountains. The enemy tries to convince you that these moments mean the end is near, that there is no way forward, and that the love you once had is gone forever. But I, the Lord, speak a different truth over you. The trials you are facing are not the end, they are the soil in which I will grow something far stronger. I am not intimidated by the walls that stand between you and your spouse. I am the God who makes walls fall, who parts seas, and who brings life out of dry bones. If you let me into the center of your marriage again, I will begin to work in ways that will surprise you and everyone around you. I see the silent moments where your heart aches for the closeness you once had. I see the prayers you whisper when you think no one else is listening. I see the way you carry the weight of your marriage in your heart, longing for it to be whole again. And I am telling you now, I have heard every word. I am not deaf to your cries, nor am I blind to your pain. I have been working even in the moments when it seemed like nothing was changing. My timing is perfect, and my hand is steady, just as I stood at the altar with you on that day of promise. I stand with you now in this season of testing, ready to bring restoration. Your love story is not over. What the world sees as broken, I see as a masterpiece in progress. The cracks in your relationship are not signs of failure, they are places where my light can shine through. I want to teach you to love deeper than before, to forgive more quickly, and to cherish each other as the priceless gift I intended. This is not the time to walk away. This is the time to press in, keep believing, keep praying, and keep standing. Because I am the God who finishes what I start. And when I look at your marriage, I see something worth redeeming, worth protecting, and worth blessing again and again. There is a strength that is forged only in the fire, and your marriage has walked through flames that could have consumed you. Yet here you are, not destroyed, not abandoned, but still held together by threads of hope that I intend to weave into something unbreakable. The world tells you to give up when love feels hard, but I tell you to hold on, because the beauty on the other side of this storm will far outweigh the pain you feel today. I have seen the battles you've fought together and the ones you've fought alone. I have counted every tear that has fallen in silence, and I have stored every prayer you've spoken in faith. Not one of them has been forgotten. You may feel that change is impossible, but I remind you what is impossible for man is possible with me. I am asking you to believe again, even when your emotions tell you it's over. I am asking you to speak words of life over your spouse, even when your heart feels tired. I am asking you to see them not through the lens of the past, but through the eyes of the future I have planned for you both. The altar where you stood was not just the beginning of a journey, it was the place where I placed my seal upon your covenant. That seal has not faded, and it cannot be broken by the trials of life. Every season you have faced has the potential to either pull you apart or draw you closer. And if you will trust me, this season will become the foundation for a deeper, richer love than you have ever known. That do not underestimate what I can do in a moment of surrender. When you choose to lay down your pride, your hurt, and your fear at my feet, I will replace them with peace, humility, and strength. The path forward may require forgiveness, perhaps more than once, but forgiveness is the soil where love blooms again. I am calling you to fight for each other, not against each other. To see your spouse not as the source of your pain, but as the partner I entrusted to you. The love I blessed at the altar can still flourish, and I am ready to pour out my grace to make it so. Hold on, because this is not the end, it is the beginning of something new. I want you to remember that your marriage is more than just a relationship between two people. It is a divine assignment. When you stood together and exchanged vows, you were not just entering into a legal agreement. You were stepping into a spiritual calling. The enemy has always targeted what I have called sacred, and that is why you have faced storms that seemed relentless. But I am reminding you now, those storms do not have the authority to determine your ending. My word over your marriage is still alive, still powerful, and still able to accomplish what I promised. You have not come this far just to see it crumble. I am the God who redeems lost years, who restores joy, and who revives love that has grown cold. There are moments when the only thing keeping a marriage alive is the decision to stay. That choice may not feel easy, but it is in those moments that I pour in supernatural strength. Love is not sustained by fleeting emotions. It is built on commitment, sacrifice, and the daily decision to honor the covenant you made before me. I see the struggles that others don't. I know the conversations that never leave the four walls of your home. And even when you think you are failing, I am still working to draw you closer to each other and to me. The altar was not the finish line. It was the starting point of a journey that I have been walking with you every step of the way. Do not believe the lie that says the best days of your marriage are behind you. With me, the best is yet to come. I can take the very things that were meant to break you and use them to strengthen your bond. I can turn arguments into understanding, distance into closeness, and pain into compassion. But it begins with your surrender, not just as individuals, but together as one. Invite me back into your conversations, into your decisions, and into your hearts. When I am the center, no storm can pull you apart. You were blessed at the altar, and that blessing still stands today. I will see to it that your marriage not only survives, but thrives in ways you never imagined. I know there are moments when you've looked at your spouse and wondered if the person you once knew is still there. Life changes us, circumstances shape us, trials test us, and the passing of time can make the heart weary. But I want you to know that I see both of you completely. I see who you were on the day you said I do, and I see who you are now. I see the beauty in your growth, even in the seasons when you didn't see it yourself. The love that once drew you together has not vanished. It is still alive. Though it may be hidden beneath layers of disappointment and unspoken hurt, I am here to peel back those layers, to reveal the tenderness that is still there, and to ignite a fire that will burn even brighter than before. Your marriage is not a mistake, it is part of my divine plan, and I will not let it slip through your hands if you keep trusting me. You must understand that the covenant you made was not based on how you would feel in every season. It was based on a choice to stand together through them all. Feelings rise and fall, but a covenant is unshakable when it is rooted in me. That is why I call you to love even when it feels hard, to speak kindness even when you want to remain silent, and to pray even when you feel like giving up. These are not empty actions, they are seeds of faith that will, in time, produce a harvest of restoration. The enemy will try to magnify every flaw, every weakness, and every failure, but I will magnify the grace that can cover them all. My grace is greater than any conflict, and my power is stronger than any barrier standing between you. I am asking you to believe that your marriage can be a testimony not just of survival, but of transformation. I want your story to inspire others who are on the brink of giving up, to show them that when I am at the center, love does not just endure, it flourishes. I can rewrite your narrative so that the chapters ahead are filled with unity, intimacy, and joy that you thought were lost forever. But you must choose to fight for what I have given you, to see your spouse not as an adversary, but as the gift I entrusted to your care. What I blessed at the altar is still under my protection, and I will not allow the enemy to destroy what I have declared sacred. Your part is to keep your heart open to my leading, and I will do the rest. There is a truth I want you to hold tightly in your heart. No marriage is beyond my reach. The same hands that shaped the universe and set the stars in place are the same hands holding your covenant together. I am not a distant observer to your struggles. I am an ever-present help, standing between you and the forces that seek to tear you apart. I have seen the battles that wore you down, the words that left wounds, and the days when you felt like strangers in the same house. But I have also seen the moments of tenderness, the silent prayers, and the deep longing for things to be made right. Those desires for restoration were planted by me, and I will honor them if you will keep your trust in my power to heal. You may have been told that once love fades, it cannot return, but I say to you, love can be reborn stronger than before. I am the God who makes all things new, not just once, but again and again. I can take what has grown cold and breathe warmth back into it. I can take what has been damaged and shape it into something beautiful. The altar was the beginning of a journey that was never meant to be walked alone. I have always been the third strand in your cord, and that is why it will not be broken. Every trial you face together can either push you apart or draw you closer. And if you invite me into the process, even your pain will serve a purpose. Now is the time to silence the voices that say it's easier to walk away. Those voices do not speak truth, they speak defeat. I am calling you to fight for each other, not because it is always easy, but because what I have given you is worth far more than you realize. There will be days when your emotions do not align with your commitment, but commitment is what sustains love until the feelings return, and they will return. I am not finished writing your story. If you keep your eyes on me, I will turn this season of hardship into a testimony that will inspire others and bring glory to my name. You were blessed at the altar, and that blessing is still alive today. I want you to remember the power of the moment when you stood face to face, with hearts full of hope and voices steady with promise. In that sacred space, surrounded by witnesses on earth and in heaven, you spoke words that were etched into eternity. Those vows were not simply romantic statements, they were a covenant sealed in my presence. I was there, listening, blessing, and binding your hearts together with a bond far stronger than human effort could create. That bond is not fragile. It has the resilience of my spirit woven through it. No argument, No misunderstanding and no season of difficulty can undo what I have consecrated. When I bless something, I place my seal upon it, and that seal is unshakable. I know there have been days when you've wondered if the love you once knew can survive the pressures of life, the responsibilities, the disappointments, the unspoken hurts. They can make you feel as if the altar is a distant memory. But I tell you this, the altar is not just in your past, it is still speaking over you today. My blessing over your marriage did not expire on the day you said I do. It remains active, powerful, and present in this very moment, even now. My spirit is working to restore what has been weakened, to heal what has been wounded, and to protect what the enemy has tried to touch. You must choose to remember why you began this journey together. There was something in your spouse that captured your heart, something I placed there for you to see. That treasure is still there, though it may be buried beneath the weight of life's trials. I am calling you to look again, not with the eyes of frustration, but with the eyes of grace. Grace is the soil where love is renewed, where hope is reborn, and where joy finds its way back into the home. If you will trust me, you will see that this chapter is not the end of your story, but the turning point towards something greater than you could have imagined. Your marriage is still in my hands, and I will not let it fall. There is a beauty in commitment that the world often overlooks. In a culture that tells you to walk away when things become difficult, I call you to stand firm and remain faithful. True love is not proven in moments of ease, it is proven in the seasons when the winds are strong and the storms seem endless. Your marriage was never meant to survive on fleeting feelings alone. It was designed to be anchored in the covenant you made before me. That covenant carries weight in heaven. I do not treat it lightly, and I will not abandon what I have blessed. The love that first brought you together was a gift, but the love that will keep you together is built through choices daily, intentional, spirit-led choices. I see the moments when words have cut deep, when silence has created distance, and when burdens have made you feel alone even while sitting in the same room. But I also see the longing in your hearts to bridge that gap, to reach for each other again, and to find your way back to the closeness you once had. I am here to tell you that it is possible. I am the God of reconciliation, the one who can turn cold hearts warm and who can bring unity where division has taken root. The process may not happen overnight, but every step taken toward me is a step that draws you closer to each other. Do not underestimate the power of inviting me into your marriage each day. Pray together, even if the words feel small. Speak kindness, even when you don't feel like it. Forgive quickly, even when it's hard. These acts may seem simple, but they are weapons in the spirit, breaking chains, dismantling lies, and building a foundation that cannot be shaken. I am not just trying to help you survive this season, I am preparing you to thrive beyond it. Your altar vows were a starting point, but the fulfillment of those vows is unfolding now. In the choices you make to fight for what I have given you, stand, because I stand with you, and I will not let your marriage fall. When you spoke your vows, you were stepping into something far greater than a ceremony. You were stepping into a sacred covenant, designed by my hands. That day, heaven bore witness as you promised to love, protect, and remain faithful, not just when things were easy, but through every trial and every storm. Those promises were not empty words, they were seeds planted into soil that I have been tending ever since. The enemy has tried to trample those seeds with conflict, misunderstandings, and weariness, but I have been guarding them. Even in the seasons when you felt distant from one another, I have been near, keeping your bond from breaking completely. You may see fractures, but I see a structure still standing, ready to be strengthened beyond what it was before. The blessing I spoke over your marriage on that altar has not been removed. It remains as strong today as the moment it was given. I know there are days when your mind tells you to retreat, when giving up seems easier than pressing on. I know the moments when exhaustion wins over patience, when old wounds resurface, and when silence feels safer than trying to communicate. Yet, I am telling you, those moments are not the end, they are invitations to lean into me. I am the healer of hearts and the mender of relationships. I can take the bitterness that has settled in and replace it with compassion. I can take the walls that have been built and turn them into bridges, but I cannot do it without your willingness to invite me in, not just as a distant hope, but as the central foundation on which your marriage stands. Without me, it will always feel like you are rowing against the current, but with me, you'll find the wind of grace at your back, carrying you toward restoration. There's a joy I want to return to your home, not the shallow joy that depends on circumstances, but the deep, abiding joy that comes from knowing you are walking in step with my will. This joy is possible, even in the midst of challenges. It comes when you choose to see your spouse as I see them, imperfect, yet deeply loved, flawed yet worth every effort to cherish. It comes when you forgive not because they deserve it, but because you have been forgiven. It comes when you pray together, even if the words feel awkward, and watch as my spirit begins to shift the atmosphere of your home. I am telling you now, the love you thought was fading can return stronger, steadier, and more unshakable than before. Do not walk away from what I have blessed. Stand, fight, and trust me to finish the work I began at your altar. I was there on the day you made your promises, and I have been there every day since, even on the days you thought I was silent. I have walked with you through seasons of laughter and seasons of tears, through times when your love felt effortless and times when it felt like a battle just to hold on. I have seen the moments when you wanted to turn away, yet something in your heart told you to stay. That something was me, whispering that your marriage is worth fighting for. I did not bring you together to let you drift apart. I placed you side by side for a reason, and I intend for you to finish this journey together, stronger and more united than you have ever been. What I blessed at the altar is still under my covering, and my covering is not lifted by the storms of life. The enemy has always sought to break apart what I have joined, because a marriage rooted in me is a force of light in a world full of darkness. Every time you choose forgiveness over resentment, grace over judgment, and unity over division, you push back against his plans. You may not always see the immediate results of these choices, but in the spiritual realm, they carry immense power. Your decision to love in the face of difficulty is an active war against the forces that seek to destroy you. This is why I tell you, do not grow weary in doing good, for in due time you will reap a harvest if you do not give up. That harvest will be peace in your home, joy in your hearts, and a renewed tenderness between you and your spouse. I am not asking you to ignore the pain or pretend the challenges are not real. I am asking you to bring them to me. Lay them at my feet every day if you have to. Let me carry what is too heavy for you. Let me speak into the places where you've run out of words. Let me breathe hope into the corners of your heart that have grown cold. This is not about returning to what once was. It is about stepping into something greater, something deeper, something that reflects my perfect love. If you trust me, I will not only restore what has been lost, I will multiply it. Your altar vows were just the beginning of a story I am still writing, and the next chapters will be filled with miracles you never thought possible. From the very first moment you stood together, I wove your lives into a tapestry that only I could design. Every thread, the moments of joy, the seasons of hardship, the victories, and the trials has a place in my plan. Some of those threads are bright and vibrant, while others are darker, representing the challenges you've faced. But I want you to understand something. Even the dark threads have purpose, because they bring depth and contrast to the beauty I am creating. Your marriage was never meant to be a perfect picture. Without struggle, it was meant to be a living testimony that my grace is enough to hold the hearts together, even when the world would expect them to fall apart. The blessing I spoke over you at the altar was not a temporary shield. It is an everlasting covenant, and I will defend it fiercely. I know there are moments when you've questioned if you still know the person you married, when you've wondered how the love you once felt so strongly could feel so distant now. Life's pressures, disappointments, and misunderstandings can cloud your vision, making it hard to see the treasure that is still right in front of you. But I see it clearly. I see the beauty that still exists between you, hidden beneath the dust of unmet expectations and unspoken pain. I see the tenderness that once came so easily, and I am ready to breathe life into it again. You do not need to return to the past to find joy. I am calling you to discover a deeper, more enduring love that can only be forged through walking together in both the sunlight and the storm. When you choose to stand and fight for your marriage, you are not fighting alone. My angels are stationed around your home, protecting what I have blessed. My spirit moves within you, guiding your words, shaping your thoughts, and softening your hearts toward one another. There will be days when progress feels slow, but every act of love, every prayer whispered together, and every moment of patience builds something lasting. Do not despise the small steps, for they lead to great transformation. I will not allow your story to end in defeat. What I began at the altar, I am committed to complete, and the ending I have in store will bring more joy, unity, and fulfillment than you have dared to hope for. There are seasons in a marriage when the days feel heavy, when conversations become brief, and when the closeness you once enjoyed feels out of reach. The enemy wants you to believe that these seasons are proof your love is gone. But I tell you, they are opportunities for me to work. Just as a gardener tends the soil after a harsh winter, I can tend the ground of your relationship, breaking up the hardened places and planting seeds of renewal. The altar where you once stood together was not just the start of your marriage, it was the beginning of a journey that I have walked with you every step of the way. The promises you made there are still alive, still protected, and still within my power to strengthen. What I blessed, no force in heaven or on earth can curse. I have seen the tears you've tried to hide, the prayers you've whispered in exhaustion, and the moments when you felt unseen and unheard. But I have also seen your desire to hold on, your quiet acts of love, and your hope, no matter how small, that things can change. I want you to know that even the smallest ember of hope can ignite a fire when it is placed in my hands. Do not believe the lie that says it's too late, or that you have drifted too far apart. Distance is no obstacle for me. I am the one who brings the prodigal home, who restores the years the locusts have eaten, and who makes all things new. You must remember that your marriage is not just about the two of you, it is about the legacy you are building. Every choice to love, every decision to forgive, every moment of humility sends ripples into the future, impacting generations you may never meet. The world needs to see couples who choose faithfulness in a culture of giving up. I want your story to be one that testifies, we made it because God was in the middle. This is why I urge you to stay rooted in me. Pray together daily, even if only for a moment. Speak words that build, not words that tear down. Serve one another as if serving me, and watch as the love you thought was fading returns, stronger, deeper, and more beautiful than ever before. I want you to see your marriage through my eyes, not as a fragile structure on the brink of collapse, but as a covenant fortified by my presence and capable of withstanding every storm. The pressures you have faced were never meant to destroy you. They were meant to push you deeper into me and into each other. Every disagreement, every season of silence, every moment when love felt strained, none of it has escaped my notice. I have been working in ways you cannot yet see, softening hearts, aligning steps, and preparing a new season where peace will replace tension and tenderness will replace distance. The altar blessing you received was not symbolic, it was a spiritual reality, and I have guarded it from the very moment you said I do. I know how easy it is to focus on what has gone wrong, to replay hurtful words, or to hold onto disappointments. But when you choose to dwell on what's broken, the enemy gains ground. That is why I call you to lift your eyes above the wounds and fix them on the healer. I am not asking you to pretend the pain doesn't exist. I am asking you to bring it to me so that I can transform it. The same way I turn ashes into beauty and mourning into joy, I can turn conflict into connection. This transformation will not come from trying to change each other, but from allowing me to change you both from the inside out. I am building something in your marriage that will be stronger because of what you've endured. The love I am restoring will be more compassionate, more forgiving, and more anchored in truth than ever before. You will find yourselves not just remembering why you fell in love, but discovering new reasons to love each other in ways you never imagined. And when you look back on this season, you will see it as the turning point, not the end, but the moment my grace rewrote your story. You were blessed at the altar, and that blessing will not be removed. Stand firm, take my hand, and let me lead you into a chapter where joy is restored and love is renewed. There's a depth of love that can only be formed when two people choose to stay, even when everything around them suggests they should walk away. This kind of love is not built in moments of ease, but in the fires of trial, when you decide, again and again, that the person beside you is worth fighting for. I have watched you face storms that could have torn you apart, and yet here you are. You may feel weary, but your endurance speaks louder than you realize. Every time you resisted the temptation to give up, every time you chose grace over bitterness, you were strengthening the very foundation of your marriage. You were proving that the altar blessing I spoke over you was not temporary, it was eternal. That blessing still speaks over your home today, declaring life where the enemy has tried to bring death, and unity where he has tried to sow division. I understand the weight you carry, the disappointments you've held inside, the hopes that feel delayed, and the moments when you wonder if your love will ever feel the same again. But I tell you now, I am not interested in simply making it the same. I desire to make it greater. I desire to take your shared history, the highs and the lows, and weave it into something even more beautiful than what you once knew. I can redeem every wound, every mistake, and every season of dryness. I can use the very things that hurt you to teach you how to love each other with a deeper, more Christ-like love. The path may not be without difficulty, but it will lead you to a place of intimacy, trust, and joy that is stronger than before. Do not measure your future by what you see in this moment. If you only look at the present pain, you will be tempted to believe that restoration is impossible. But I see beyond this moment. I see the healing, the laughter, and the renewed closeness that will come if you will keep trusting me. I am calling you to believe for more, to pray with expectation, and to speak life over your marriage even when your emotions resist. Your altar vows were not just promises you made to each other. They were promises made before me, and I am faithful to guard what is entrusted to me. What I have blessed, I will protect. What I have joined, I will strengthen. This is not the end of your story. It is the setup for a testimony that will glorify my name. I want you to understand that every marriage that endures does so not because it never faced hardship, but because it chose perseverance over surrender. The world tells you that love should always feel easy, that if it requires effort, it must not be real. But I tell you the truth, real love is proven in the moments when it costs you something to keep it alive. Every season of tension, every trial you've walked through, and every moment of uncertainty has been an opportunity for your roots to grow deeper. Even now, I am taking the struggles you've faced and turning them into the very testimony that will inspire others to fight for their own marriages. The blessing I placed on you at the altar is still in effect. It has not faded, it has not weakened, and it will not be removed. I see the way the enemy has tried to weave lies into your thoughts, telling you that the damage is too deep, that the distance is too great, or that the love you once had is gone forever. But I am the God who restores not just what was lost, but what was stolen. I am able to return to you more than what you thought you had in the beginning. I can rekindle joy where there has been sorrow, trust where there has been doubt, and tenderness where there has been coldness. You cannot force these changes on your own, but you can open the door for me to do what only I can. And when I move, the transformation will be undeniable. So I say to you now, guard your covenant fiercely. Do not allow bitterness to take root in your heart. Choose to see your spouse as I see them, flawed, yes, but deeply loved and worth the fight. Make the daily decision to protect your unity, to speak life into your home, and to pray over each other without ceasing. This is how the altar blessing you received becomes visible again, not as a distant memory, but as a living, breathing reality in your home. And when the day comes that you stand side by side, looking back at this season, you will realize that what you thought was the breaking point was actually the turning point. I am not done with your story, and the best is still ahead. From the moment you took each other's hands and spoke your vows, I have been guarding what I joined together. I have walked with you through seasons of sunshine and through nights so dark you wondered if the light would ever return. Even in the moment when your hearts felt distant, my presence never left your home. I have been the unseen hand holding the pieces together when it felt like everything was falling apart. The blessing you received at the altar was not a one-day event, it was the beginning of a divine covering that remains over you today. That covering has shielded you from battles you didn't even know were being fought, and it continues to stand between your marriage and every scheme of the enemy. I know the weight of the words spoken in anger, the wounds caused by silence, and the walls built through misunderstanding. But I also know the power of grace, the beauty of forgiveness, and the strength of love that chooses to stay. These are not just noble ideals, they are weapons that dismantle the plans of the one who seeks to divide you. Every time you extend grace, you tear down a stronghold. Every time you choose forgiveness, you close a door the enemy is trying to open. And every time you remember your vows, you remind the spiritual realm that this covenant is not up for negotiation. You are not just a people living under one roof, you are a living testimony of my faithfulness. So I say to you now, lift your eyes above the present struggle. Do not allow what you see today to dictate what you believe about tomorrow. I am the author of your story, and I have not written the end over your marriage. I have written to be continued, because the chapter ahead will carry restoration, laughter, and peace you thought you had lost. Hold on to one another and hold on to me, for I am holding on to you both. Your altar blessing still speaks, your covenant still stands, and my will is for your love to shine brighter than ever before. What I have joined, no one and nothing will tear apart. I want you to hear this clearly. The story of your marriage is far from over. Every moment you thought was a breaking point, I have seen as a turning point. I have been preparing you for a season where love will not just be rekindled, but will burn with a strength and purity greater than when you first began. The altar blessing you received was my declaration over your union, and my declarations do not return empty. I am the one who spoke the universe into being, and I am the one who spoke life over your covenant. If I have the power to command the seas and calm the storms, do you not believe I can calm the storms within your home? I am already moving, already shifting hearts, already aligning your steps so that you will walk together in unity again. Do not measure the future of your marriage by the weight of the present struggle. Faith is not built on what you see, it is built on trusting my promises when the evidence seems against you. And my promise over you is this: what I have joined together, no one can separate. I am calling you to fight, not in your own strength, but with the strength I provide, to love, not just when it's easy, but when it feels impossible, because that is when my love flows through you most powerfully. Every prayer you've prayed has been heard, every tear has been counted, and none of it has been in vain. You are standing on the edge of a breakthrough, and the enemy fears the testimony your restored marriage will become. So take each other's hands once more, as you did on that sacred day, and choose to walk forward together under my covering. Let the altar blessing be more than a memory, let it be the foundation you build on every single day. Speak life into your home, choose grace over anger, and keep me at the center of all you do. If you do this, you will see restoration that will not only heal your hearts, but will inspire everyone who witnesses it. Your marriage was blessed in my presence, and it will be sustained by my hand. I will finish what I started, and your love story will be a testament of my faithfulness for generations to come. This is my promise to you, and I do not break my word.